And these sort of traditional understanding of design is now breaking up into many more areas. So I am going to present a few such areas which you may or may not have be familiar with. You may not have heard of. Major we have is visual arts and culture, where people interested in art can learn about painting and sculpture, of course, but also art practice, curation, cultural industries, because that's a big area where a lot of people are employed in the cultural industries. And cultural industries is going to go up in the coming time because world is becoming more aware. The world is becoming less Western centric and becoming more regional. And therefore, there's a cultural revival, and there's going to be a big revival of the cultural industry as well.
Yeah. So the presentation basically, a lot of us are familiar with the term design. We are familiar with certain types of design. For example, everybody knows what is fashion design. Fashion design, bolte hi, it's a thing that everybody understands. Similarly, these days we talk about UX design, user experience design. And then we also talk about automobile design, car design. We talk about um, you know, product design. We talk about interior design. So there are these words and these terms and these areas that we are mostly all familiar with as of now. Now, the nature of these professions or these courses, the careers, they keep changing. So it's not as if if you're an interior, if you're a fashion designer, for example, you're only going to do fashion. You might transition into a career which is an area of design which is a little different. In fact, recently, if people have been going to watch, any of you have been going to watch movies in the big multiplexes, there is this company called Green Lamb, which makes this laminates. Now they have a collection which is designed by, I think, Manish Malhotra, who's a fashion designer. So, when we look at those connects, we realize that design is no more confined to those very, very specific fields. At the same time, there are specialized designers who do only certain kind of work as well. So this presentation is going to try and point, you know, give some light onto the way this whole ecosystem functions. So that's why I've called it the future, what future creative careers will be and how to be part of it. You know, so these are called new age courses and how those creative careers will be. And I hope the slide is changing. Has the slide changed? Can anyone just tell me slide has changed?
Yes, but it's blank.
Yeah, I know. Because earlier when I was been doing Google Meet has tried to copy Zoom, and their function doesn't really work the same way. So I'm just making sure that it's working. So, what is design industry in a nutshell, right? If you look at it, the size of the design industry. This is a 2020 data. It's not probably updated yet. The latest 2020. We are in 24, so it's about 3 years old. And so the volume, the scale is big. It's 18,832 crore. This is the data from CII, and that translates to about 62,000 design professionals in the country. This includes all kinds of designers. It's not one kind of designer. It includes all the different spectrum that you can see. And approximately in that time, we are looking at about 7,000, maybe a little more than 7,000 trained designers coming out. So you can see, where is the potential for growth? It's huge. There's a huge gap, and this gap is, I mean, the requirement is going to increase, and that gap is also going to increase. So we are in a very good position when it comes to being trained as designers, or what we call it with Atya, we call creative professionals. So we don't distinguish between design and art. We say all creative professionals, art, design, fashion, textiles, all of that is part of the entire overall ecosystem. Um, so what is it actually? On one hand, data, the sciences, right? Now, sciences are very important in design. Why? Because it is empirical and objective. So sciences are driven by data. And we need, as designers, as creative professionals, we use data. We need the data to be able to conceive the right kind of product that we are looking at. So on one hand, we have the sciences, which is a very important part of the mm, uh, design working ecosystem. And on the other side, we have the arts, where it is more insight driven. Insight comes from experience. So as a designer, as a creative professional, as an artist, or in a creative field, you learn by doing, you learn by experience and by experiencing, and that gives you insights, and that insight is what you use it in your production of things. So it's speculative and subjective. So when we combine these two things, what we get is design in the middle. The design is basically, it's a creativity driven enterprise, and it is a systemic and methodical as well. So, which means that sciences and the arts, when they come together, that's where real design actually happens. So, it's not, as a profession, you are relying on data on one side, where you see that you glean information from outside, and then you synthesize that in your own way, with your own experience, with your own creativity, and create the outcome, which is the design outcome, right? So this is very important to note when we think of design as a career, that it's not just creativity and drawing and painting some great stuff. It's not just the technical side, it's a combination of the two things, the data and the arts. Now, there are a few, you can say, examples of new designers. We are all familiar, like I mentioned some time ago, we are all familiar with a fashion designer, we are familiar with a furniture designer, we are familiar with an interior designer, we are familiar with product designers. And these sort of traditional understanding of design is now breaking up into many more areas. So I am going to present a few such areas which you may or may not have be familiar with, you may or may not have heard of. Unfortunately, this is not a live interactive session, so otherwise I would have liked to ask the audience the question, but still, let me go ahead with this. So this is something that is emerging now, a technology artist. Now, what is a technology artist? It's somebody who uses technology to create art. So when we say technology, it could mean software, it could mean hardware, it could mean data, it could mean even information from multiple sources, using data, using technology to create art. We are already now, a lot of us are using AI for creating artworks. Now, what is that? That's basically technology which is creating art. And our role is to prompt the AI to generate what we want by giving the right kind of input into it. Now, this is a very simple side of the AI based art. At the other end, there's a lot of complex way in which you can feed in the parameters into various applications and come up with that. So, a technology artist is somebody who leverages technology to create art and uses data as a tool for visualization, and it's somebody who works at the cutting edge of technology and creativity. So this is now, where are these people, where are they employed? You see, that is also important to understand. A technology artist is today employed in areas like film and television. They're employed in areas like large scale installations and exhibitions, art based projects. And I'm going to show you a short video after this, just a small clipping, I would say, of someone who is very well known in this field of technology and art. His name is Refik Anadol. He is based out of, I think he's based out of Sweden. No, I'm not exactly sure where he's based out of, but he's somebody who leverages technology for art. I hope the video is visible. Is it visible? I hope.
Yes.
Now, what you see in this, that's Refik, who is talking about his work at some forum. These are basically grabs. Can you see the artwork that's happening there? This is purely modeled using data. There is no, his intervention is not in terms of making these visuals. His intervention is in putting the data together through the technology platform that he uses, and it results in artworks which are dynamic, which can be installed in public spaces, and which can actually lead to very, very fantastic sort of results. So the last project, the most recent project he's working on, is he's using weather data from across the world to create artworks, large scale artworks, which sort of exemplify, and these are real time. So he's taking real time weather data and converting that into art. Now, he's of course a world famous person, so it takes a lot of effort to reach in that kind of level of work, but you can, as you can see, and he uses I know that part of the software he uses is a software called touch designer, which is basically a parametric software where you input the parameters and it leads to the um, it leads to the outcome. Now I need to figure out how to get out of this. Okay, no problem. From current slide. Yeah. Then we have something else. This is also very interesting. It's called a social designer. Now, what is a social designer? What is social design? Social design is where design is used to solve social problems. Social problems mean problems of society, problems that affect not just one or two individuals or a consumer of a product, but society as a whole. There are social problems which are related to the environment. There are social problems related to culture. There are social problems related to lifestyle. You know, for example, alcoholism is a problem, is a social problem. Now, how can design thinking be used to create solutions for curbing alcoholism or controlling it or things like that? So social design is basically an area where a person he solves social problems through design thinking, works with people and their concerns. So it's not necessarily about technology or a software or a visualization, but what are people looking for? What are their problems? What are the kind of things that they are wanting to do? So this is the way in which a social designer works. In India, we have a huge opportunity for social design because we have large number of societal problems and social issues. And one of the big areas where designers work in social sector already is in the crafts sector in India. We have a large number of handicrafts and textiles and handmade things, and these are all connected with people and their livelihoods. So we are talking about somebody sitting, a group of people in a remote village, doing their livelihood by getting their livelihood by creating objects that they can sell. So craft sector is already a very big part of the social design arena in India. Now we are looking at healthcare, we are looking at mobility, we are looking at education, we are looking at many allied areas, let's say women's issues. We are looking at so many things where social designers, healthcare, of course, is a huge area where social designers are being called to solve the kind of problems that exist there. And a social designer also creates opportunities for a wider impact. Wider impact means it's not just that one product that a company is selling, but the impact of that product is actually much, much bigger and wider than what the product itself is. I'm going to show you a little next short. This is a company called Daily Dump. This was started by an NIDian long ago. This is a grab from their website. What do? They actually have a product. So Poonam Beer is the person who started this company. They have this thing called the composting device. If you can see, these are composting devices which you can buy and use in your home, and you can create your own manure from your own home waste. Now, this is a product design issue. I mean, the outcome is a product that has been designed to do the composting. Now, this is an award-winning product. Bonham has won, I think, last several awards for this. And you can imagine, the previous speaker was talking about waste management. I caught on to that a little bit. And this is one of the solutions that designers have come up with for the waste management problem. And this also has a trickle down effect that in your own balcony, you're actually using your own waste and creating manure and growing your own vegetables in your terrace garden, right? So these are small things, small problems, small solutions, but with huge impact. So this is what social designers end up doing. And this is something, again, I don't know if, sorry, oops, let me go back. That was a big, small glitch from my side. Okay. So a CMF designer, this is interesting. It's a person who designs surfaces for products. Yeah. Now, you might ask, what are surfaces for products? Take up, if any of you who are watching, who are seeing this presentation, take up any product that's lying around you. Now, I have picked up my daughter's little pencil case. It's right here. I don't know whether you can see it in yeah. So now this is a rubberized product. It has a certain feel. It When you touch it, it has a smooth finish, but it's also nice and grip. Now, this smooth finish that's there on this product is what a CMF designer is actually designing, right? Same way, you might have a product where you need a grip. So you'll create a surface, you'll create a pattern on the surface. Sometimes you might need a product where it needs to shine. I mean, there's an effect of shining effect for or smooth effect somewhere. So these surfaces, so they play with colors, materials, and textures. And the product, typically a CMF designer, a color material finish designer, that's what a CMF stands for, is somebody who creates the delight in products that we use. Yeah. Now, if we take an example, I'm going to show a little video. Um, this is the video of the interior of a car. Now, as you can see, the interior of a car is one of the most, you can say, important aspects of important aspects what you look for when anybody buys a car. You want to see luxury. You want to see different materials and textures. You want to feel the texture. You want to feel that, when you grip that steering wheel, or when you touch the seat, or when you sort of you know do the kind of things that you you basically want to feel that environment. Now, this is not only in a car, it is in your home, it is in your you can say, in your office, the surface of a piece of furniture, what you touch in a handle somewhere when you use it. So this is what a CMF designer does. A CMF designer is somebody who focuses on the color, material, and finish. And this is a huge area today. And the CMF designer is not restricted to physical products, even for interfaces like in your apps and in your screen-based products, digital products. There again, a CMF, though it's visual, it the feel of that in visual of that interface is something that a CMF designer is actually designing, right? So just what I'm talking about. And the more the luxury, the more the materials and finishes. Yeah. So this is what a car is. Now, another very interesting field is that of a service designer. Who is a designer? Now, all of us are familiar with using one or the other service. Take, for example, we go to the airport to catch a flight. We go, there is a point where we get off from our car, and then we go to the entry gate where the security I mean, the CISF guard will check your boarding pass and all. And then you go inside, then you go to the check-in counter where you give your luggage, you get your tag or whatever, the boarding pass and all of that. And then you proceed to security check, where the your wrist and all of that, your laptop and bag and all are seen, hand baggage is seen. Then you go all the way to the boarding gate. From the boarding gate, you are then going into the ramp or the vestibule or the bus, as the case may be. And finally, you enter the aircraft, you go up to the seat and you sit in your seat. Now, this entire journey is a service that is designed by someone. So, wherever that service is of a higher order, the customer or the user feels better, makes it easy for them, and therefore they would like to take that service again. So that is where one airline varies from another airline, because the experience is much nicer, because it's been designed much better. So a service designer is a person who solves complex problems through design. So basically, it's not simple problems like a product. The product is there in that part, in that whole system. But what that service designer is doing is designing the entire system. Healthcare is another example. When you go to a hospital, what kind of services do you get? Where do you go from from one service to another? How do you reach there? How do you end up getting the doctor? So this is all designed. And a service designer is somebody who designs the way a service reaches the end customer. Now, even for when you book a Zomato or a Swiggy thing, there is a service designer who has designed that service experience. What you use is the app, but behind that app is an entire service process. So this is what a service designer does. Again, this is a field which is coming up in a big way, and most companies are now looking for service designers to streamline their services, to improve their customer delight, to get more customers to come back to their services or their products, and increase their business. So at the end, it's basically someone who makes the life easy for the end user. That is what a service designer does. Yeah. So again, one more video, short video. Philips is one of the big pioneers of service design. Here you can see the designers working on a hospital concept. So the concept here is that the hospital doesn't need to be in one place. They have literally broken up the hospital into many, many, many smaller units which can reach the patient rather than the patient reaching the hospital. So this is a inside out concept of a hospital. Now, this is the kind of debate and data that they gather and debate on it and create the solutions and create the outcome, end outcome, and the entire system designed for it. And sketch it out and do stuff and all of that, and then implement that through the company. So Philips is one of those big, you can say, corporates which invests a huge amount of money in developing their service design in a very, very good way. And specifically, this is Philips, the hospitals and the healthcare division. So as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to the thing, and where they actually figure out how a service is to be delivered and how it is needs to be um, envisioned. So this is what service design as a very, very interesting area. And again, in India, we have huge amount of scope for services. Our government is already doing a lot of service design oriented projects. So as of now, for example, we can access data about our through our Aadhaar cards. We are now getting into the phase where healthcare delivery, uh, all of that is happening is through the services that are being given. And so this was about that. Philips. So how do we achieve this in how we teach at Vidatya? We have a concept of majors, minors, electives, and internships, and all the first three, majors, minors, and electives, form a project. So we have a project-based learning approach, because unless you do, you will not experience and you will not learn. So we have majors and we have minors and we have electives, and then we have internship, which basically helps the students learn that you know implement that learning that they do in the project in the real life. So you have the professional orientation and the personal preferences coming together to create your portfolio. So 24 projects a student does in 4 years, and these 24 projects will become like a almost like a big chunk of your uh, you know pitching when you go for higher education or when you go for jobs and things like that. So that is the thing. We just quickly go through the majors that we have. We have a communication, media, and advertising major, which is basically includes all the things written below: graphic design, animation, film, VFX, media industry, advertising, with the idea of the media and advertising industry as the final focus. And typically you see the kind of bombardment of information that we get, we need to reach there. The second major we have is fashion and creative industries, where fashion design, lifestyle product design, styling, craft-based design, event design and things like that. And typically a fashion designer, I don't want to go through, waste too much time on the videos right now. Then we have a major called environments and space design, which includes interior, architectural design, event design, exhibition design, where we're basically talking about spaces. So we don't teach interior specifically, but it all depends on the projects, what you do. Then, yeah. Then there's something called experience design, which is basically the design and technology part. So where you have the UX design, game design, AR, VR, digital design, service design, again, all done through projects. So depending upon what the student wants to learn, they can choose amongst these five majors, amongst the four majors so far. And the fifth major we have is visual arts and culture, where people interested in art can learn about painting and sculpture, of course, but also art practice, curation, cultural industries, because that's a big area where a lot of people are employed in the cultural industries. And cultural industries is going to go up in the coming time because world is becoming more aware, the world is becoming less Western centric and becoming more regional. And therefore, there's a cultural revival, and there's going to be a big revival of the cultural industry as well. So these five majors are what we have, and students can choose to do projects in any of these five majors for the first 2 years and then focus on a major for the third and fourth year. So, and in our college, we have different exit options. So that's basically you can exit at the end of 1 year with a certificate, 2 year with a diploma, and at the end of 4 years with a degree. And we'll get a skills focus in the first 2 years. As I said, you can do multiple projects in different areas, different majors in the first 2 years. If you want to explore, or if you don't want to explore, you can just fix one major and then just go ahead in that for all your projects. In the third and fourth year, you will be then focusing on one of the things. This is just some glimpses of the campus. It's a 16-acre campus in the middle of farms. So we have our own farms where we grow our own vegetables and which is consumed in the institution. And we have a lot of open space and nice this thing. Students are very much involved in the campus. That's another view of the campus with the farms in front. We have a fish pond where we grow our own fish, which is again used in the culinary school. Students learn there. That's just a glimpse of the School of Design. These are the classrooms, I mean, the main lecture rooms, I would say. We have a concept of reading lounge where the idea is not that it's a library, but you can just come and pick up a book and sit and read, or you can sit and work there. So we have a lot of open learning spaces. These are some of our students working on some color exercises from, these are first year students. These are studio rooms are like this. So we don't have classrooms, we have studio rooms. And then we have workshops. These are again the students doing some photography assignments with our, yeah. So this is the other point. We have very less in-house faculty. We have a lot of industry mentors. So they are practicing professionals who come and guide the students on their projects rather than teach. So we have that mentorship is our main focus. Fashion lab, that's me taking a class in from 2D to 3D, how to evolve your design. Hostels are there. Um, Food, great food, sports, and yeah. So that's what I had to share